Hello everyone. Today we are going to start with a class 9th science syllabus. Your science syllabus is going to divide this year into physics, chemistry and biology. So today we are going to start our syllabus with the subject chemistry. So this year under subject science class 9, in chemistry we are having 4 different chapters. The first chapter is matter in our surrounding. Second chapter is matter around us pure? Actually it is a question for you. Number 3, structure of atom. And number 4, atoms and molecule. Okay, so these 2 chapters are there in term 1. So these 2 chapters are there in term 2. Okay, so these are the 4 chapters. First 2 chapters are from term 1 and second 2 chapters are from term 2. So let's start with the first chapter of chemistry class 9. Okay, that is matter in our surrounding. Okay. Our first chapter, matter in our surrounding. Now, when we are talking about our surrounding, okay, see, in the ancient time, the particular Indian philosophers, we are talking about philosophers. The meaning of philosophers means thinkers. Those think about the particular things. Okay. So when Indian philosophers starts thinking about their surrounding, okay, they want to know that these particular objects we are having, just like air, just like stone, water, plants, the human body, stones, etc. They start observing these all things and they wants to know that from which particular material these particular things are made up of. At the same time, Greek philosophers also trying to get the answer for the same question, that the particular surrounding having the number of materials and these particular materials are made up of the particular things. So they trying to observe that particular thing, that what particular material made these particular things. Okay. Then they come to know with the results, and these particular results are exactly same for the Indian philosophers and also for the Greek philosophers. And their particular theory says that these particular materials in the surroundings are made up of we can say Pancha Tattva. It is there in the textbook. Pancha Tattva. We are talking about Indian philosophers. They use the term in Sanskrit, that is Pancha Tattva. And these Pancha Tattva are nothing but air, earth, sky, fire and water. These are nothing but the 5 basic elements: air, earth, fire, sky and water. Okay. So with the particular these 5 basic elements, all the materials are made up of. Okay. That's why these are nothing but called as Pancha Tattva. So Indian philosophers gives us the particular theory that all the materials in our surrounding are made up of this Pancha Tattva. Pancha Tattva in Sanskrit, and these are the material in Sanskrit. It is Vayu, Prithvi, Akash, Agni and Jal. These are nothing but the 5 basic elements with which the particular padartha is made up of. This padartha is in Sanskrit. So matter in English called as padarth in Sanskrit. Okay. So matter is made up of these 5 basic elements given by the Indian philosophers in ancient time. And also the same conclusion is given by the Greek philosopher at the same era. Is it clear? But in this modern day science, scientists want some proof. They want some proof. This is only the theory on their philosophy. That is no practical work done to verify whether the particular material is made up of these 5 basic elements. If you remember the serial, it is there in Doordarshan in our period when I am there in class maybe 6, 7, 8. Okay, there is one serial Shaktiman. Okay, the first Superman in Indian cinema, that is Shaktiman. Okay, superhero. So in that particular serial, they try to say that the particular Shaktiman is made up of these kind of 5 basic elements. That's why there is no energy which beat that particular Shaktiman, because Shaktiman is made up of these 5 basic elements. That will be the idea behind that particular superhero. So that particular idea is from the Indian philosophers, and they told us that whatever the padartha is there in their surrounding is made up of these 5 basic elements. Also Greek philosophers give the same theory, but that is only the philosophy. No practical evidences are there for their theory. Then in the modern science, our scientists, there is a difference in the philosophers and scientists. Philosophers give their theory only without any practical evidences, but scientists gives their particular work with the proof. So now for the modern day science, scientists gives us the particular idea about the particular matter made up of the several things. Okay, and now we are going to learn about what modern day science thinks about the matter in their surrounding. This is about the theory given by Indian philosophers. Now modern day science tells us that when we are talking about matter, matter are nothing but all the things in our surrounding which is having mass and occupy some space. If any material having mass, means having some weight, and also occupy some space, then that particular thing is called as matter by the modern science. So the definition of the matter given by the modern science tells us that if anything in our surrounding having some mass and occupy some space, then that thing is called as matter. So everything in our surrounding, those having mass and volume, occupy some space, is nothing but the volume. If any object having mass and also volume, then that particular object is termed as matter. So everything in our surrounding, like this pen, this particular board, the human body, this particular mobile, everything, your books, all are having some mass and occupy particular space. That's why they are considered as matter. So this is the first topic of this particular chapter, that what is meant by matter, and the definition for the matter is everything in our surrounding, those having mass and occupy some space, means having volume, called as matter. Is it clear to all? Now moving towards the next topic of this particular chapter, we learn about definition of matter, and after this particular definition, our next topic is we are going to learn about physical nature of matter. Then what is the meaning of physical nature of matter? The meaning of physical nature, in what particular forms we are getting this particular matter. The physical nature, the exterior look of any matter, physical nature. Okay. Then in physical nature we are having 2 points to discuss. In the first point, physical nature of matter, we are going to learn that matter is made up of tiny particles. Matter is made up of tiny particles. So you have to verify this particular point of physical nature of matter, whether the matter is made up of particle or it is a continuous thing. For example, we are having school A and we are having school B. School A tells us that matter is a continuous thing. The meaning of continuous thing, just like a wood, it is a continuous thing. It is not made up of a tiny particles. This is the statement given by school A. Matter is a continuous thing. Okay. And school B tells us that matter is a particulate thing. That means it is made up of particles. So we are having these two particular perceptions about the matter. School A says that matter is a continuous thing, it is not made up of particles, where school B tells us that matter is a particulate thing, that is, it is made up of particles. Then how to verify that whether the matter is particulate or the matter is a continuous thing? So to verify this, we are having an activity. It is a simple activity. For example, having a beaker, then add some water in it. So we added (100 ml) of water in this particular beaker. You can perform this particular activity at home also. But you are having a particular glass vessel, so mark that particular glass vessel, okay, in anywhere. It is not necessary that it must be 100 ml. Mark anywhere, okay. You take one glass vessel, mark here and add that much of water. For example, it is 100 ml of water. Now, this particular water having mass and volume, because the definition of matter says that if any object having mass and volume, then it is termed as matter. So this particular water having a mass, obviously उसे उठाओगे, having a mass, and yes, it is occupies some space, that is 100 ml in this particular beaker. That's why this particular water is also a matter. Then you have to add 2 spoons of salt in it. What you have to add? 2 spoons of common salt in it. Okay. Then you have to stir that particular mixture, salt in water. Then you have to observe. Clear? After a particular period, that salt is going to disappear in that particular water, and then we can say that salt get dissolved in water. Then what we can understood from this particular activity, if you observe the water level before adding the particular salt, the water level is 100 ml, and after adding 2 spoons of salt in it, when the whole salt get dissolved, water level does not rises. Water level does not rises. It is as it is 100 ml. So where that particular salt goes? Because salt is also a matter having a mass. and having a particular volume, it also occupies some space. Yes or no? Initially the space is of 2 spoons. Yes, the 2 spoons are completely filled with the salt. So what is the volume of that particular salt? The space of that particular 2 spoons. Yes or no? So your salt also having a mass and also occupies some space. Your water is also having a mass and occupy particular space in the beaker. But when you are going to add the salt in a water, yes or no, your salt must take their own place. Yes or no? अगर salt के पास भी volume है, उसे कुछ जगह चाहिए, so when you are going to add that salt in a water, yes, तो salt जब पानी में जाएगा तो salt को फिर से अपनी जगह तो चाहिए होगी ना. Yes or no? This much of space is occupied by the water. So when you are going to add the 2 spoons of salt in it, salt अपनी जगह लेगा. तो अगर इस पानी में salt ने अपनी जगह ली, तो पानी तो थोड़ा ऊपर आना चाहिए, क्योंकि थोड़ी जगह किसने ली? थोड़ी जगह किसने ली? Salt ने ली. If you remember that particular story, thirsty crow. So that crow used to add number of stones in that particular earthen pot, and the water comes in the upward direction. Yes or no? So if you think in the similar manner, when we are going to add the salt in water, water must comes in the upward direction because some of the space must be utilized by the salt also. But we are not getting that kind of result. Water level does not rises. It is as it is at 100 ml. Then what exactly happened? With the help of this particular result that water level does not rises, we came to know that this particular salt divide itself into very tiny particles, and these particular tiny particles goes into the spaces which are already present between the water particles. मतलब आपने 100 ml water जो लिया, in that particular 100 ml of water, each and every water particle having a space between them. एक water particle से दूसरे water particle के बीच में क्या होती है? Space. And that space is enough for the salt particles to get into. Okay, if you are not getting me, I will give you one example. For example, we are having 20 benches. Okay, in each column we are having 5 benches. So if we are having 20 benches, okay, and having a 40 students, in each bench we are having 2 students sitting there. Okay, so if we are having 20 benches and there are 40 students, sitting on 20 benches, so the particular class is full. Yes or no? So every student in that particular classroom considered as a water particle, and the class is nothing but the beaker. Now I am going to add 20 pre-primary students, for example nursery students, into the same classroom. मैंने 20 pre-primary के बच्चे छोड़ दिए for the same classroom. Then what exactly happened? Every particular bench adjusts one primary students with them. मतलब 2 बच्चे पहले से 9 के बैठे हुए हैं, हर एक बच्चे ने क्या किया, अपने बीच में थोड़ी सी जगह तो थी, वहाँ पर प्री प्राइमरी के बच्चे को बिठा दिया. यस ऑन? क्या हमें एक्स्ट्रा बेंचेस लाने पड़े? नहीं. इफ़ यू अंडरस्टैंड द टॉपिक, दैट स्मॉल प्री प्राइमरी स्टूडेंट्स आर नथिंग बट द सॉल्ट. यस और नो? एंड यू आर नथिंग बट दी class 9 students are nothing but the water particles. So yes, water particles are closer to each other, but they are also having a enough space between them so that the pre-primary particular nursery students get their own space. Yes or no? And the class level does not rises. So what we can conclude? Water is not continuous thing. Water is not a continuous thing. If it is a continuous thing, अगर यह ऐसी कंटिन्यूस थिंग होती, सो व्हेन वी आर गोइंग टू ऐड द स्पून द पर्टिकुलर सॉल्ट, दैट सॉल्ट इज above the surface. Yes or no? So when we add 2 spoons of salt in a water, water level does not rises, that concludes that water having enough space between each particle so that salt is going to dissolve in that particular space. So with this particular practical, we conclude that matter is made up of tiny particles. It is not a continuous thing. It is made up of particles, and these particles having space between them. Is it clear to all? Yes or no? This is the first point from physical nature of matter, that matter is made up of tiny particles. If you take another example, just think about if the water is continuous. If the water is continuous, said by school number A. Yes or no? So how we are going to dive into the swimming pool? Think about it. If it is a continuous thing and you are going to dive into the pool, you are there on the surface only. आप अंदर थोड़ी ना जाते. But in the actual way, we cut the flow and goes into the water in a swimming pool. That means the water particles having space between them so that you can easily move your hand in a water because having a space between the particles. This is the first point of physical nature of matter, that matter is made up of tiny particles. So with the first activity we can conclude that. Is it clear to all? Now moving towards the next topic. The second point of physical nature of matter is matter is made up of particles, and these particles are so small beyond our imagination. These particles are so small beyond our imagination that we can't see them with naked eyes. Matter is made up of particles, that we already learned in the first point, and these particles are so small. This is the point. These particles are so small beyond our imagination that we can't see them with the naked eyes. Okay. So these particles are so small. Yes. How we can conclude this? With the first experiment itself, we are able to see the salt when it is there in the spoon. But when we are going to add the same salt in a water, that salt particle get disappear, because that tiny grains of a salt divide itself again into very tiny particles when it is going to dissolve in water, so that we are not able to see them with the naked eye because they are so small beyond our imagination. So to verify this, we are having again activity. You have to take number of beakers okay. In the first beaker they are having 100 ml of water, and in next we are having 90 ml of water, 90 ml of water in all. Okay, in the first we are having 100 ml of water, and in all the things we are having a 90 ml of water. Every particular activity is there in the textbook. If you are having textbook, go through these particular activities, you will get the answer. Then in this particular clear 100 ml of water, we are going to add crystal of potassium permanganate. Okay, So, or we are having a formula KMnO4, that is nothing but potassium permanganate. Okay, it is there in we can say reddish pink color, a dark purple pink color. Okay, then so when we are going to add this particular crystal of potassium permanganate into 100 ml of water, the whole water gets colorful. You will get the particular color. The whole water gets colorful when we are going to add the crystal of potassium permanganate. The whole water becomes colorful. Okay, we are having 2 to 3 crystals. The crystals are nothing but these stones. So, we are having a small crystals of potassium permanganate. Then when we are going to add that small crystals of potassium permanganate into the water, the whole water becomes colorful. Done. Now that means potassium permanganate divides itself into very tiny particles, and these tiny particles are goes into the particular water spaces and the whole water becomes colorful. Then what to do? From this particular colored water you have to take 10 ml of colored water into the next beaker which is having 90 ml of water. Now it is having 100 ml, 90 plus 10, and this particular water again becomes colorful. Done. Then again 10 ml into next, again colorful, again 10 ml into next, colorful. If you understand this particular activity, the whole water gets colorful. Yes or no? The meaning of it, the small crystals of that particular potassium permanganate, when dissolves in water, they divide itself into very small particles, so that after number of times we are going to dilute that particular water with the color, every small crystal of that particular potassium permanganate present in each particular beaker gives their presence with the color. आप चाहे जितने बार उसे डाइल्यूट करते जाओ, if we are having some amount of crystals of potassium permanganate, the particular water becomes colorful. Yes, there must be a change in certain color. If the first one is dark color, थोड़ा थोड़ा फेंट होते जाएगा, but up to the last, कब तक करनी है ये particular activity? Until the color get disappear. जब तक color disappear नहीं होता, continuous doing that. Yes or no? So this particular activity tells us that these particular potassium permanganate crystal divide itself into very tiny particles, and the presence of that each tiny particles gives the particular water becomes colorful. Yes or no? Okay, think about the Dettol also. In the first beaker, instead of this potassium permanganate, add Dettol. The whole particular water gives you the particular smell of Dettol. Yes or no? Then take some solution of water and Dettol and put it into the other beaker. That particular solution also gives you the smell. Then in the next, then in the next. Do this until the smell of that particular Dettol get disappear. And we came to know that Dettol itself divide into very tiny particle and gives the presence up to 100 liters of water with even the small amount of Dettol or even the small amount of potassium permanganate. With this activity we can conclude that matter is made up of particles, and these particles are so small beyond our imagination that we can't see them with the naked eye. This is about the introductory part from this particular chapter, matter in our surrounding. So I am going to recapitulate all the points that we learned in today's video. Number one, what is meant by matter? With the modern science, matter is nothing but all the things in our surrounding, those having mass and occupy some space, means having a volume, called as matter. And what is the physical nature of this matter? The meaning of physical nature, their exterior look. The physical nature of matter says that matter is made up of tiny particles. matters are made up of tiny particles. With the first activity of salt and water, we can conclude that. Number 2, these matters are made up of tiny particles, and these particles are so small beyond our imagination, and we are not able to see them with the naked eye. We are not able to see the individual particle because they are so small. That's why salt particle get disappeared into water. Is it clear? So this is for the today's chapter, today's video. Now in the next video we are going to learn about the chemical, or we can say characteristics of particles of matter. This is what is meant by matter and physical nature of matter. Our next topic is characteristics of particles of matter. Yes, hope you understand the particular concept. Okay, thank you so much.